Well, hello there, everyone. Welcome back to some more Suzerain, Kingdom of Rizia, where we are going to Palais to sign the Aureus trade agreement. For the second time since my coronation, our convoy drove steadily across the cobbled streets of Old Town Palais. The city was familiar to me by now, but the atmosphere was far more welcoming than it had ever been before. I was here to sign our deal with Duke Reinhardt. As resolved by the AN, after today, Rizia would own 50% of the Aureus gas field. I want to applaud you again, Your Majesty. This was a tense situation, and I believe Rizia made the best of it. So do I, Mr. Escobar. Your advice and assistance was invaluable as usual. Much obliged. Upon our arrival to Castle Reinhardt, we were greeted by the smiling faces of the Pelagian and Lesbian delegations, as well as Duke Reinhardt, who waited at the front gates. After exchanging pleasantries, we were led inside. The light of the camera flashes nearly blinded us. Inside, we were greeted by the Lesbian Prime Minister Alvarez and representatives from Less Power. It's good to see you, Your Majesty. Not likewise. Lesbia and Less Power are incredibly pleased that your nations have reached a mutual understanding. Energy really is the great unifier, isn't it? I'll say, and there's more than enough in the Aurus field to go around. We took our seats around a large table along with the delegates from each country's Ministry of Foreign Affairs. Welcome back, Your Majesty. It's a delight to have you here with us once again. Today is not just about signing a deal, it's about laying the foundations for cooperation and mutual benefit between Palais and Rizia. Sure, it's a pleasure to be here under such promising circumstances. This deal would mark a new chapter for both of our countries. I must also thank our partners in the Rizian delegation. They were instrumental in working out all of the legal particularities. The delegates bowed their heads. We will finalize the official details right now. Everything that happens afterwards is just for show. So, he gestured at the assistants in the room. They quickly placed enormous files on the table. Both Rizia and Palais accept the Alliance of Nations resolution. Ownership of the Aureus gas field will be divided evenly between our countries. I'm expecting you to try to fuck me on this somehow. Rizian oil and gas will control the rights to the Rizian half of the field, while Lesbia will share control of the Pelagian half. Extraction and transportation from that half of the field will be carried out by our state corporation Less Power. The assistants place all the necessary papers in front of us to sign. Sure, sign the papers. After me, the documents were also passed to Prime Minister Alvarez. As soon as he finished signing, the room broke into a lengthy round of applause. To our future partners. To international cooperation. After exchanging congratulations, we were led outdoors into the courtyard where a stage had been set up for the ceremony. As we stepped into the stage, the applause of the crowd blended with the loud music from the speakers and the clicks of camera shutters, overwhelming me for a few seconds. We stood in front of a massive board with an illustrated map of the Ante-CNC, depicting the Aureus field as a bridge connecting Palais, Rizia, and Lesbia. The stage itself was an outlandish construct dominated by a towering replica of a drilling rig with a huge logo of Less Power on it. Made to look like a sophisticated machine with oversized dials, levers, and flashing lights, it was less a piece of industrial equipment and more a prop for a science fiction movie. Lorenzo leaned in and whispered, "I certainly didn't expect this." What on earth have they done? Seems Pelagians went above and beyond for this ceremony. He pointed at the mock rigs surrounding the stage. There were a series of artificial geysers engineered to sprout water and colored lights at time intervals, simulating the dramatic discovery of natural gas. Oh, so fucking tacky. The geysers were choreographed to erupt in unison with the crescendo of the music. Organizing this must have cost them as much as the drilling facility itself. It was probably Lesbia who paid for it. As the music came to an end and the applause subsided, I took a closer look at the crowd that was gathered. Politicians, journalists, and energy executives in their best formal attire were standing somewhat awkwardly amidst this bizarre setting. They cast amused glances at the entertainers who mingled among them, performers dressed as engineers and geologists, complete with exaggeratedly large yellow helmets. Like, what the fuck? Prime Minister Alvarez then took the microphone and started explaining the importance of the Arias and the deal that had been finalized. With a brief introduction, he gave the microphone to Duke Reinhardt. The Palladian leader made his own brief speech before turning towards me. I invite His Majesty King Romulus of Rizia. Took the microphone amidst the applause. Ladies and gentlemen, dear friends, I would like to thank Duke Reinhardt for inviting us to attend his grand ceremony. Uh, sure. Today we have concluded a historic agreement, which is a testament to true diplomacy and our mutual desire for cooperation. Uh, Thanks to our cooperation with Palais, Rizia will soon be transporting billions of cubic meters of natural gas. This project has many benefits not only for our people and our country, but also for our neighbors and the region as a whole. Sure. I'm certain that in the future, Rizia and Palais will implement many more mutually beneficial joint projects, whether in energy or other fields. Before I finish, I would like to highlight the importance of Polynesian region friendship to Southern Makopa. They, uh, the Kingdom of Rizia sees the people of Palais as our brothers and sisters. Let's today step towards unity between us. As a closing word, I would like to thank everyone who has worked so hard on the design and construction of this drilling facility, the engineers and builders, as well as the employees of all the contractors involved. Congratulations, everybody. The crowd roared with applause. I gave the microphone back to Duke Reinhardt. He shook my hand and gestured for Prime Minister Alvarez to join us. As the main event approached, a gigantic faux control panel was wheeled onto the stage. The panel, festooned with blinking lights and oversized buttons, was set for ceremonial activation of the gas field. Duke Reinhardt, Prime Minister Alvarez, and I were guided toward the panel. We placed our hands on it, posing for the cameras as we did so. Press the button! Pull the lever, Kronk! Wrong lever! With a dramatic countdown, Reinhardt, Alvarez, and I each pressed one of the buttons on the panel. There was a series of industrial sounds as the mock rig came to life. The music swelled and the geysers went off in unison, involving the area in a colorful mist. After a few more minutes of picture taking, we left the stage. In the car, I glanced over the PAR Aureus plaque, a celebratory gift from the Rizian Oil and Gas Corporation, sitting snugly on the seat next to me. I couldn't help but feel relieved once we were finally out of Palais. What does the plaque look like? Okay, anything else? Nope. Sovereign Memorial Commemoration. The National Mausoleum high in the hills above Port Drazon embraced me with its stately presence. I was here for the annual Sovereign Memorial Commemoration ceremony honoring the former monarchs of Rizia. Arriving early before the ceremony began, I entrusted Ugo with overseeing the event, seeking a moment alone. Adorned with the statues and inscriptions of monarchs from eras long past, the mausoleum stood as a witness to the enduring legacy of Rizia. In its hushed corridors, I sought solace not as a king, but as a man burdened by the whispers of history. I had also come to honor the memory of my late wife Lena, whose resting place could be found within these hallowed grounds as well. Vina, of course, was by my side. She was holding a bouquet. It feels like we were just here. I miss her so much. I'm twisted between these. So, nah, we all do, dear. She's always with us in our hearts. I know, but I'm still filled with regret. It was my own pleading that steered us into that storm. We would have never set foot on that boat. We should have never set foot on the boat. So you were a child. I was on that boat too, and I could have saved her life. It's hard not to wonder what if. It could have been worse. I could have lost you as well. You were never in danger of losing me, father. I can take care of myself. It wasn't long before we reached her mother's tomb. Venus set the bouquet in a marble vase next to the sarcophagus. I gathered these roses from the royal garden. They were the absolute best. We shared a quiet moment without words. I stared at the tomb, allowing memories of Lena and the boat accident to flood my mind. I was on the verge of becoming lost in thought when a voice called to me from behind. Well, there you are. Well, fancy meeting you here. She hadn't attended a sovereign memorial commemoration since father's passing. At my age, surprises are as rare as non gray hairs. Don't act as though my presence is some extraordinary revelation. And for the record, I can still navigate these halls without assistance, thank you very much. Vina, it's so good to see you. You're looking as lovely as ever. You too. Vina went to her and they exchanged a brief embrace. We'll catch up later. I'm meeting Manus for a walk before the ceremony. We didn't feel like joining you here. I understand. He's busy. He's quite busy now that he's majority speaker. Busy with what, dear? You know your father always called his party a zoo full of paper tigers. Her eyes swept across the room, coming to rest on Lena's grave. Forgive my lack of decorum, I should treat this day with the gravity it deserves. Gradually, she drew near, her eyes conveying unexpressed sentiment. She reached out and took Vina's hand, giving it a gentle squeeze. She was an extraordinary woman, your mother. I'd never go as far as to say she was like a daughter to me. I'd even go to say as far as to say she was like a daughter to me. I mean, uh, she was your daughter-in-law, so technically, I wish I'd known her as well as you did. Lena warned every person she met, even prickly queen consorts. I confess it took me a while to get over my prejudices about Rombergian nobles, but it's true, I did grow to love her dearly. She smiled in fond recollection. I remember the precise moment my feelings toward her changed. It was just after the civil war broke out in Velen. The two of you were at the Pala Resna for dinner. Lena and I left for tea after you and your father got into another one of your rows. Up until then, I was adamant that Rizia should accept as few Wessex refugees as possible. However, as we discussed the situation, she made such a convincing case for empathy and kindness that I was literally moved to tears. Lena had this way of seeing past politics straight to the heart of the matter. And the next day, I persuaded Valero to open our borders. There were tears in Vina's eyes. That's beautiful. I had no idea. You've described her exactly. Every time I make a royal decision, I try to see the humane side of it, the way she would. Who knows what insight she would have to contribute were she alive today? I know she would have been proud of the person you become, Vina. Despite Vina's attempts to conceal her emotions, the subtle quiver in her lips and deep sigh betrayed her inner turmoil. Please excuse me. Vina hurried out of the room before anyone could respond. Losing a parent is hard, especially when they love you as much as Vina's mother loved her. Speaking of love, I know you have approved of madness in Vina, and I support passion, but it might not be as digestible for the rest of the house. They can go fuck themselves. Uh, Either way, it needs to happen sooner rather than later for our family to secure its place on the throne. But I'm getting sidetracked. In case you're wondering which I know you are, I'm here to finally pay your father a visit after finding this. My mother reached into her handbag and held up a weathered envelope. Let's take the envelope. I took the envelope from her. Love letter from your father, the first one he ever wrote. I want to honor him by giving it back. Quite the keepsake. She took the letter back. It was only gathering dust in my writing desk. Come, let's pay him a visit. My mother left the room and I followed behind. We made our way down the great hall, past the resting places of the great leaders and some not so great, who came before me. It wasn't long before the light from the eternal flame, a single torch placed at the late king's sarcophagus, symbolizing a monarch's enduring reign, guided us to the rest of the way. As we neared, my mother's pace slowed as if waves of memories pressed upon her. If this is becoming too much for you, I'll understand. Your concern is appreciated, but I'll be fine. The flame's flickering glow cast dancing shadows on our path. We stopped just before we reached my father's stone encasing. There you are. We both fell silent. In the royal tradition, deceased kings were initially entombed here. However, upon the passing of the succeeding monarch, a solemn ritual was observed, relocating the late king to rest alongside their forebears. If you don't mind, I'd like to say a few words to your father. Sure, I'll give you some privacy. I gave her some space to allow for a moment between the two of them. She spoke to him in a hushed whisper for much longer than I expected. Whatever she had to say, she obviously meant something. When she was finished, she took out the love letter and placed it on the sarcophagus. I took this as my cue to return. May he rest in peace as his legacy lives on. Legacy. I doubt history will be very kind. Now, speaking of his actions on the throne, his legacy is you. A heavy burden to bear, a name forever stained by the judgments of time. Legacies are shaped by more than just deeds. What you make of the name matters just as much. Sure, what matters is what I do, not what the name did. But you're not just living for yourself, the family name is a part of you, and its heritage is in your hands. Sometimes the most profound responsibilities are the ones we inherit, not by choice, but by destiny. I'll embrace whatever responsibilities destiny throws at me, be it triumphs or defeats, much like my father. But surrendering Zillow was one of Rizia's greatest tragedies, that's why I intend to do everything possible to see it returned. As hard as it may be to accept, he took the necessary steps to secure the throne for us. However, I'm pleased to hear your commitment to ensuring its return, though I can't say the same for your commitment to reforming the monarchy, which is slowly chipping away at our most sacred institution. If you're not careful, I fear nothing will be left by the time you're through. We need to get with the times. If we don't evolve, we'll be left in the dust like all the other monarchies that have gone extinct. I'd say your policies imply that extinction is your goal. These reforms set a dangerous precedent and come with great risks. Whispers and rumors, they hold no more substance than passing reflections. I see that instead of addressing my concern, you chose to deflect. It was then we heard the far distant rings of the bells of the Ark Sanctuary of Zilba beginning to chime. It's time for the ceremony to begin. Yes, we wouldn't want to be late. We're already late, but as king, that's your prerogative. Before departing, I cast a final glance at Father's resting place, and a rush of memories flooded my mind. Sure. Before we part, know this. I shape my own legacy, free from the expectations of a faded form. Father's views on my choices carry no weight. I understand. For what it's worth, as hard as it may be to believe, he would have been proud of you no matter what. Mother went on ahead of me while I remained behind to have a final moment with Father. Once alone, I reached into my inner jacket pocket and took out an envelope, the last letter my father ever wrote to me. Find your own way, my son, and may your footsteps leave imprints unknown to the echoes of my yesterdays. His final words. No, I'm going to keep the letter. I considered consigning the letter to the flames as my mother did, but in the end I decided to hold on to it for safekeeping. I departed soon after, leaving my father to his solitude. Okay, end of the turn. I do want to do things. Uh, nope, nope. Inheritance tax. I kind of want it, but it costs a lot of authority, and we don't. We only have 6 right now. I mean, instead of doing this, just do the remove the religion from the state. That's -1 budget. Free press, free budget, it's free authority. Okay, let me see if there's anything that I want that will require authority first. Can't afford to do anything there. That will cost 2 authority, but will give me 5 budget. And will the 5 budget allow me to do... I want to... I want to build something. I think I will sell the submarines. I will sell the submarines. And I want to build a factory. First, let's go up. Uh, Not sure what. Oh, probably increases the max energy. Plus one budget per turn. Maybe. I mean, maybe. Yeah, it's kind of like the Portuguese. I mean, legalizing, we decriminalize it, but yeah, the funds that were going to law enforcement are reallocated to education and shit. Let me see if I have enough authority after we build something. Traumatize with Alsazon. Render military equipment on completion. Okay. Sure, it gives me manpower, but let's build a hospital. It's not that expensive. Gonna be minus one budget per turn. Right now I want things that will give me more budget per turn. I mean, this is also very important for me to do. But it would have been better to do it as soon as possible, but sure, let's build this. One of the things that would have given me more money per turn. Can't do anything here. Not enough authority. Anything that will give me authority for enacting. Nope. Don't have enough authority to do the big changes that I wanted. Okay, I don't think I will do anything else at this time. I can train an extra ship for our navy. That sounds fine. We have 950 manpower, 15 almost 1500 equipment, and 3 battleships. We sold our submarines, but we do build one per turn. Good. Yeah, I would like to get some factories for everything else. Okay, but that will be it for this episode. Thank you all very much for watching. As always, I have been Pope. Please do remember to like, comment, and indeed subscribe. I will see you all next time.